RusAme reader, Song, and today I will be reading to you from Rival Schools by Cake. Now, on to Chapter 10. Now They Know. America threw himself into the room, bracing himself against the door. Tears were streaming down his cheeks as he heard angry footsteps approach, immediately taking a dive under his bed. He covered himself with items already stored under there, trying his best to hide his sobs and wipe his tears away. "You fucking ungraceful disgrace of a son!" a voice yelled, slamming his door open. America's breath hitched. He found himself not breathing, tears falling more quickly. "Where the fuck did you go?" He heard his closet door yanked open, followed by clothes being thrown onto the floor. His dressers were being forced open as well. America knew his room would be such a mess, and he'd be expected to clean it, even if it was his father's doing. Suddenly, some of the items that he used to cover himself were yanked away. Yet, he himself was not. His father had failed to see him, but America could see him. And the mess. Once more, he screamed even more and slammed America's door shut after leaving. He shakily pulled out his phone out of his pocket and turned it on, searching for a specific contact. "Please pick up, please pick up." He prayed quietly, not daring to move himself from under the bed. That would be a death wish, as his father was not done. "Da, hello?" "Russ, I'm so scared." "Medico, what's going on? Are you okay?" "He's going to kill me, Russ. He's going to kill." America's door was slammed open again. America slowly placing his phone on the floor, face down. He was barely able to hear Russia from the other side of the call, only focusing on his father. He knew where he was. He knew that. He bent down and grabbed America's leg, yanking him from underneath the bed and grabbing him by the throat, holding him up. "I'm sorry!" America tried to plead, tears once again appearing. His father had no sympathy for him, throwing him back onto the ground and kicking him, placing his foot right in his stomach each time. America cried out, begging for him to stop and for forgiveness, but none of his pleas were heard, only him being slammed into the wall. "Dad, I'm sorry, please!" "You are a fucking disgrace to this family. You would be nothing without me." He then kicked America in the head, leaving as he was now satisfied. He slammed the door once more, leaving America only to sob. It hurt. Oh, how it hurt so bad. He held his head with one hand and his stomach with the other, throwing up anything he had in his system from the days prior, along with some blood, crying as he did so. He didn't even know what he did to get beat this time. All he could focus on was the pain. "I'm sorry," he repeatedly muttered, only not picking himself up from the puddle of tears, vomit, and blood that he created. He laid there on the cold wooden floor, hoping no one would see him in such an embarrassing state. He was hoping Canada, Aussie, and Kiwi wouldn't even dare enter his room to see him in the state. Their only brother, the only person who tried to protect them. He was more than embarrassed and scared. He was guilty for something he didn't even know he did. Did they get a call from his school? Did they hear him talking about Russia one time? Slowly, he pushed himself up, taking a few steps towards the bed and collapsing again, sobbing loudly. He could barely even walk. He was hurting so much. He tried to crawl, but he could barely even move his legs, collapsing onto the floor once more. He was now looking under his bed, as naturally, that's where his eyes were looking, but then he noticed something. His phone. He never hung up, did he? "Russia?" he muttered, slowly yet surely pushing himself to the phone. "I'm sorry." He managed to grab the phone and pull it to him. immediately pulling himself onto the bed with a loud groan. He looked at his phone and noticed he was indeed still on call with Russia, so he put his phone to his ear. "Can you come get me? It hurts. Papa and I are on the way right now. Would you like me to sneak in through your window?" "Yeah, it hurts so much." "Are you still in danger? That you're whispering still? I can barely understand you." "I don't know where they are." Russia talked calmly and tried his best to soothe America over the phone. America not even paying attention anymore. The pain was taking him over, spreading from his head and his stomach to everywhere else. It hurt to move his arms or his legs. It hurt to answer Russia. It hurt to breathe. He just decided to stop answering Russia, taking short and shallow breaths, which could definitely be heard by the Russian. He was in so much pain. He wanted to do nothing but cry. Suddenly, his window was slowly pushed open, a large man entering the room. It was Soviet, and he immediately went to America. He slowly wrapped his arms around America, as he needed them to be, pulling him into his chest and grabbing America's phone, putting it in his pocket. "Is there anything else you need?" he calmly asked. America merely nodded. "Bear," he breathed out, wanting Soviet to grab the stuffed bear on his bed. Thankfully, Soviet did, placing it on America, moving his arm to hold the bear there. It was a rather large Rilakkuma plush, one of few large pricey things his teammates got him after he placed first in the state for individuals in cross country. It was the only item that wasn't food or something perishable that he received, his parents not even getting him anything. Soviet slowly climbed out of the window again, shutting it quietly before walking off with America held in his arms tightly. America leaned his head onto the man, groaning with each step he took as his body hurt, America actively fighting tears. Once they got to Soviet's car, he opened the back doors and laid him in the seat, his head meeting Russia's lap. "Russia," was all he mustered out, closing his eyes once the car door was closed. "He looks like absolute shit. Holy fuck," a girl said from up front, America quickly recognizing her as Ukraine. "Dad, we need to go to the hospital." "Don't worry, we're going there," he replied, closing his car door and turning the car back on. "Just make sure Bella doesn't wake up," he said, turning the car back onto the street and driving away. America groaned as he tried to reposition himself, a soft cry leaving him as he dropped the bear plush. But it was quickly given back to him by Russia. Russia was rubbing America's shoulders and whispering to him in his native tongue, calming America to the best of his abilities. "I'm a disgrace," America mumbled, recalling each and every word his father screamed at him. He was spacing out from reality, trying to find a new reality where his head could hide, failing to hear his boyfriend console him. "I'm an ungrateful shit. I'm nothing without him. I need him," he mumbled, no longer in his awfully quiet whisper. "I need to be perfect. I need to honor the family." America glanced outside of the window at the tall building they had driven to. The car was opened again, and America was gently pulled out back into Soviet's arms. Russia had left the car himself, using only one crutch as his cast was to be removed that week. Ukraine and Belarus had also left the car, Belarus holding America's bear now. They all quickly and quietly entered the hospital, immediately getting America checked in and into a hospital bed, nurses and doctors examining his body. They had stripped off all of his clothing, minus his underwear, leaving him freezing cold on a bed with only people he didn't know around him. Not even Russia was in the room with him. He's got internal bleeding. We need to do a quick surgery and stop it. Immediately do an MRI on his head. There is sustained trauma to the area as well. A doctor instructed. America was now being pulled away and sent to sleep. He just wanted Russia. He wanted to be held by him again. He wanted his bear. Oh, how he loved that bear. He saw how Belarus was crying. He wanted to be able to comfort her. He wanted to be able to thank Soviet for taking him to the hospital and carrying him. America was not the lightest. Russia. And that's the end of this chapter. I don't think you could have enjoyed this one. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. We have a lot more fun there than this chapter. I swear. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time. And I will see you tomorrow.